Hi, gay is not sin, and Jesus isn't asking the gay person to change and be straight. People, guess what? Jesus is about to return. Maybe not like you thought, though. We're taught lots of things, and it kind of is going to make you kind of wonder when Jesus begins to do the process very close to the rapture. And you'll find out you kind of don't like it. And you kind of wonder, wait a minute, I don't remember this when I read the Bible. The actual thing is, you don't remember when you were listening to the pastor preach. And throughout your studying and everything and reading, you're keeping in mind the traditions of the church from your childhood that, let's say, there's Noah's Ark. Here, Noah, God said, you and your family are going to build an ark, going to flood the world, and you're going to start all over. And we're going to have 2 by 2 the animals coming in and so forth. Kind of cute story. But when you grow up and you mature a little bit and you got some brains, you went to school, God is truth. People not necessarily lying to us in school. Yeah, there's a lot of lies. We're told lies about our history and so forth. We don't get all of the stuff, but we get plenty of stuff that makes us able to grow up, build spaceships, and go to the moon. We could hold a little device in our hand that can do more than the biggest computers ever just a couple of 3 decades ago. I'm doing this program on a little thing this wide, that big, and it's about that skinny. And look at my microphone is a little tiny thing here. And it's worked better than all the other microphones I tried to use before. Handles the wind fairly good. Now they got something like this that don't have this wire coming off down here. It just loops around like here. Bluetooth. Go figure. And you look in there in Amazon, whole bunches between $16 to $24. You can get some nicer ones up to about $100. That's kind of cool, these days here. We got a lot of technology. How do we get that? Because we thought God brought all the animals 2 by 2, and it was just as simple as that. Noah and his family was the only righteous. Is that really that simple as it is? And we just forget all the other words in the Bible and all the other books that would have been in the Bible, except maybe they weren't as poetic, and they could only put so many, and so there's a lot of books that were written about the same time, but from different areas. Christians fought over what they wanted, and then they banned what they don't want. And somehow we're to believe these people way back in the day knew some facts that the books they banned were really bad. No, that guy, what was that? Constantine, he just wanted to get some organization. If church is nice and organized and have a specific belief across the way, he has a lot of power, control in the Roman Empire. He saw that cross. So he decided to do it the Christian way. Some people believe he really was a Christian. Some people believe he really wanted the power, and Christianity was a good way to do it because it really united the people, but he needed something that really united the Christians. So he said, get me a Bible in a certain time and do it yesterday. And so many books are left out. And we find that we're discovering things, other books, and that talks about detailing some of the events that took place in the past. And it's sort of accepted. There's the book of Enoch, and there's various other kinds of things. We got the forgotten books of the Bible, and or the lost books of the Bible, on and on and on, stuff that could very well go into the Bible. It met all the qualifications, except they like these other ones, and they needed to, God wanted 66 books in the Bible. So that means others are not going to be in the Bible. That doesn't mean don't read the others. But a lot of people just think, well, the Bible is it. It pretty much is if you're going to base something on things instead of just going with your gut. Oh, God told me. God is not going to tell you anything that cannot be somehow or another confirmed in the Bible. May not be everybody thinks it's confirmed. You read it and you say, wow, you found the spot that confirms it. So it's not just really simple to be able to, when you get a thus saith the Lord thing coming up inside you and you want to do a thus saith the Lord to somebody, that's going to have to meet the Bible thing. Some people might want to say, thus saith the Lord, gay is sin. Well, if God said that, you can go to the Bible, look up the verses that people use to condemn gays to see if they condemn gays. Male temple prostitutes is not another word for homosexual. So you can't say, thus saith the Lord. It means you must have heard something else, a demon or your own thoughts, your own spirit. And you might swear for absolute sure that the voice you heard was God. Maybe you didn't understand what God was saying. Because if God was really saying it, it's got to match His Word. So lots of things are happening, and we're seeing the fruition of it today. In the past couple of decades, we're seeing things falling more and more to place. We're getting people that done more and more research, that somehow got the way to understand things a little bit better. God gave them a gift, whatever. Or they did the studying and everything that you should do. And most of us say, oh, we study. How do we study? Just read the Bible. And how do you know what you read that you're interpreting it right? Well, it's the Bible. It's got to be the living word. It's coming to me and I feel like it, No, that's not how you confirm that what you read in the Bible is right or not. How you confirm it is to look at the words that were written, because English wasn't what the Bible, Jesus really did not say, thus cometh, goeth, whilst, hence, or all these kind of, he didn't say these kind of things. He spoke the Hebrew, probably Greek, and so forth. He could probably speak all the languages, but we just know that basically he grew up as a Hebrew person. So as a baby like us and everything, he would know Hebrew. And as we can learn a second or third language, he can also study like that and learn it. But he's also God, so he could just know it. But we do know that he knew Hebrew. And from like we would know it, but he, that gets into a little bit area of what does God know, and and what did he do and didn't do when he became a man. So there's information. The Bible says, and knowledge will increase. Well, that's kind of in the area of scientific knowledge. It's knowledge about everything. It's kind of in that we can have knowledge. We grab our keyboard over here. Just about see anything in the world. If we're really good, we could even get into areas to see even more stuff. So pretty much at our fingertips, we have all information. You can pretty much say that we got all information. 7 billion people basically are inputting into the internet, and now it's there, floating around. Get it. All up to the keyword and or code or some, in some cases, to enter in. And you can get just about it. But there's a ton of stuff that just us regular folk can type in and find out some information. And what we find out, you can look into the Bible and see if it fits. It may not be from God or true, but you could find out that if it is in the realm of matching what God said in the Bible. Because the Bible in some areas are quite vague. There's probably a thick book of stuff that could go into what God puts in one sentence. And he didn't necessarily need to explain any more than that one sentence. If we want to know more about it, we can go find that big book and read it. There are books that has truth in them, but you have to confirm with the Bible that this is... Some people are saying things that are right on, but they may not believe in God. So they're trying to, in their explanations, explain God away and make it more in a scientific way. But you can read that, and as a Christian, you can have the revelation of what the truth is. You don't find in the Bible that says Betelgeuse is what four, or the new closest star is 4 trillion light years away, or 4 light years away rather, which equals so many trillion miles, I guess. But anyway, it takes light to get to the closest star 4 years. Well, the Bible doesn't say that. So does that mean it's not so? There is the possibility that it is not so, that this closest star is really hop, skip, and a jump away. Because God stretched out the north. Science is sort of telling us this stretching of the universe makes it look like age. So when you look at something that says 4 billion years old, it's because it looks old. But it really is not, because God stretched it out and that looked like it's old. So you got a lot of things to understand when you're looking for scientific truth. But you got lots of information that says lots of stuff. It is sort of generally known that there was a group of fallen angels, or angels that were supposed to do a job, and they were called watchers. And not all watchers turned out bad, but they were supposed to be looking over the earth and helping in the areas that they're able or approved to help in. But you see, we got Old Testament information that says somebody that they call came down and had sex with women. Now there's something very interesting about this kind of thing, and so you can look in. We find out that in Adam's day and Noah's day, before the flood, that these watchers did come down and they did have sex with women, and basically their babies turned into giants. But they were very smart. You know, they weren't just cyclopses going around big old dumb things or whatever, as we usually want to make giants. It seems like you're giant, you lose out in your intelligence. But these people were extremely smart. And it's very likely this is where we get all of these things that people like to go in search of aliens or ancient aliens and all these kind of terminologies of who's building these great big impossible things in the past. Because after the flood, pretty much all of this kind of stuff was destroyed. And so you had to have some sort of technology. And there's a really good possibility. I come here a number of times telling you, they were pretty smart. They were no doubt having considerable amount of science and technology of living in what we're looking around today. We have this computer over here, and we got a little calculator, and we can pick things up sometimes by using a picker upper. You squish it, you'll pick things up. If something goes wrong, we got all kinds of stuff and everything, but they had more. See, in those days, people lived to be 1,000 years old. So, and they had pretty much perfect memory and perfect bodies as it was, because they're freshly made. Now you have these people that come down and having sex with women, and now you're having half-breeds, as it were. Now what we're having is the DNA is mixing into these angels, as it were, that came down. And when now you got this, and the information in some of these ancient texts, the Book of Enoch is pretty good. You could say, I don't like it. I don't believe anything except the Bible. Okay, then enjoy the future that's coming up and going to shock you out of your gourd, and you're going to wonder, well, you don't like Jesus after all because you didn't think it was going to be as like it is going to be. It's going to be more like it's going to be than you thought it was going to be, and so you don't like it. And so we're seeing, I can get all this time work out, and fast forward, we're seeing similar things happen. So we got a mixture in all these people, and so 1,000 years you're smart, you could build marvelous things. Now you have these fallen angels, as it was, these watcher people. What kind of material were they made of? Were they biological beings? They had to be something. They were compatible sexually with women. And you think spiritual type of beings, how could that be? So we don't know for sure what they are. There's somebody that can come down and make babies. And they did. Now you have this whole bunch of things, and they got years and years and hundreds of years and all that kind of stuff. And infiltrating through those half-breeds are now mating with other earth women. Now you have a gene pool that is contaminated with this watcher blood or DNA. And it got pretty bad. It got so bad that God had picked out Noah, who still had pretty clean DNA, apparently, and still didn't build an ark. And God wiped out all these people. And one of the reasons, some think, is to clean up the DNA pool because it's getting too contaminated with these watcher DNA. So Noah started it all over. But then we have the Bible telling us more came down. Another group of watchers or fallen angels came down, did the same thing. For some reason, these fallen angel types want to make half-breeds, mess up the DNA of humanity, because it's that DNA that is important. And again, we have some things that were built that was pretty amazing. Joshua was told, go in there and kill out all those giants. And he did. There's hardly anything left. David finally there was a few left that the Bible talks about of giants, and David killed one of them, Goliath, we know that. And then, so there's a lot of stuff that you have to say, well, You don't know if this is really true or not. Is it just a story, wishful thinking, or whatever? There's so much evidence, so much people talking about, and some of these people, they got really good credentials and explain a lot better than I can. And they come up with this fact. So we got a today. What does Satan say? I mean, Jesus said Satan came down and sown tares. But be real careful, he's telling it, don't pull these tares out until the end time, because you'll pull out the good seed too. And I always tell you, that the tares are these other people, the people that came down. Angels. God doesn't say it's angels, he's the host of God or something, or some other term that is thrown in there. And they came down, had sex with women, and the offspring became really intelligent, smart, controlling people, in which we have lots of good information that seems to say lots of the leaders of Europe and so forth has ancestry through the offsprings of these those that came down. And so now, in recent times, recent decades, we're hearing UFOs are coming down. Well, we're pretty smart today. We're going to see these how they ever came down before and had sex with women. There's no clear information of what people saw in them coming down. Today, we see what looks like metallic ships coming down, flying saucers, discs. We have all these kind of. I lost 3 hours, and then they go. What did you do? Oh, they were on the table, and they made me pregnant. We have so many stories that it seemed like one of the main ingredients for these aliens is getting the woman pregnant. And people have a lot of stories where they're trying to make a hybrid, and there's hybrids, they name them, all the women get to go back and see their hybrid child at some time. They feel there's real good connection knowing it's theirs. Well, we're doing the same thing that we did before Noah, before the flood, where they came down and started infiltrating sexually with the women and making all kinds of offspring come up. And then after Noah landed back on Ararat and started everything all over again, they came down again and started the whole process over again. And then it kind of seemed like we lost all the giants someplace in there, especially after Joshua did his thing in Canaan. But they didn't disappear. You still had offspring. And now today we get this new thing that we're talking about, abduction. These come down and get the women pregnant, and the men, they get whatever they need out of them to do, maybe get, you can use all kinds of imaginations on what's going on. Why is this happening? But the Bible gives you a trend. The demon-like things, the people that fallen from God's grace of the angels has come down, or whatever is that they came down, and one of the things they do right from the get-go is to making babies, half-breeds. And now we have the aliens doing this kind of thing. And we just trying to wonder what they're doing here, acclimating themselves to Earth. No. It's the same trend all along, is to infiltrate the human DNA with these fallen watchers and demons and stuff, DNA, which messes up everything, and God has to do something. And what's about to happen? 6 billion people will be killed before Jesus returns. I'm out of time. If you don't know Jesus, turn to him. Say, Jesus, I believe you're the Son of God, that God rose you on the third day. Forgive me my sins and come into my life. Simple prayer gets you saved. Read the King James Bible, get to know Jesus. Ask Jesus to baptize you in the Holy Spirit. Find out about that by reading Acts chapter 2. Do you got a place of pain? Touch that place right now. Got your hand there? In the name of Jesus, be healed. See you next week.